Good morning, folks, and welcome back to Wishwell Farms for the start of another week. Moving a little bit slower around here this morning. It's kind of nice. Been in such a rush all summer, and now that we're nearing the end of the season, we get started just a little bit later. You know, it's already past 8:30. I'm just waiting on Emma to show up. It's just me and her today. We're going to start off with taking care of the cucumbers and zucchini out in our vegetable field, and picking up the rest of our spaghetti squash. You might even be able to see it out there, back there along the woods. The big long line of yellow spaghetti squash still laying on the ground. So we're gonna get all those things harvested and brought up here to the barn. And as you can see, my water trough is upside down. That's where we dunk and wash our green beans. It blew off the pallet. I rolled the sides down on many of our greenhouses. We had some high winds yesterday. We actually had a rainstorm blow in, and it cooled things off. There's hardly any humidity today. The high is 73, and it's rather nice. After several weeks of brutal heat and humidity, it's kind of nice to feel normal temperatures again. So that's what's happening today. Thanks for joining me. Let's get to work. Well, now that I'm out here in the field, I'm thinking we got more than a tenth or two of rain. Maybe we got closer to a ½ inch. I mean, that's a decent amount of water inside that wheelbarrow. And I just about got stuck in two-wheel drive. So that was a pretty nice rain. And now I'm wishing I had my boots. There's still some really nice looking zucchini out here. But as you look down the row, you can see the plants are looking a little tired and worn out. Little lighter colored green. There's probably some downy mildew moving in here on the cucumbers. You know, things have just run their course, but I don't know. The zucchini looks a little darker down here. There's still some nice zucchini. This is powdery mildew. See the white, powdery looking stuff on the leaves? It really gets on the undersides of the leaves pretty bad. That's just what tends to happen on cucurbit crops that have been exposed to lots of wet, humid, hot weather and not being sprayed weekly. We try not to spray a lot of fungicides and insecticides. But if you haven't seen us pick zucchini before, this is like the smallest size we would pick right here, about a banana size. And we just twist them off the plant carefully so the stem doesn't break off the zucchini. And then we pop off the flower into the tub. So these are kind of a shorter, fatter zucchini than normal. You can see after the long weekend, some of them get really big. We like to pick them, you know, about that size, like a big banana size, and pick them about every other day. Right back here, I just missed one. You can see how easy they are to miss. They're so camouflaged. And that's one of the things I really press on our high school kids that we hire, is to always look behind you and double check where you've already picked, because they're so easy to miss. Oftentimes we'll be loading them up. I'll be driving a tractor and a wagon, loading up our zucchini that they picked, and there might be 15 tubs lined up out here that the kids picked. And as I'm looking down at the row, I'll see zucchini that they missed, and there's often a ½ tub to a tub every other day that the kids miss. So I miss them too. So it's always good practice to look behind you to make sure you didn't miss any. Since it's muddy out, I'm going to put our full tub in the grass. The plastic blew up right here. And you can see how fast the weeds sprout up in the raised bed where there's no plastic. Now looking down through here, the zucchini plants look a lot greener and healthier. This is just a really rich part of our field right here. High organic matter, really nice soil. So even without fertilizing these zucchini at all during the growing season, they still look really nice. All right, we're out here in our old zucchini patch. This was patch number 2. It's not very pretty, and there's not very many zucchini out here. But we need them really bad, so we're gonna go through these 3 rows. It's only like 150 feet of it left, and then it just kind of goes to crap when it gets to the back of the field. They're all eaten up by beetles. Every time I come out here and pick this old patch, I say it's the last time. And then I find myself out here 3 days later picking it again. Well, we ended up getting 4.5 tubs of zucchini. Not great, but better than nothing. Next up, cucumbers. The cucumbers aren't very pretty, but we're getting a few. Every now and then you get some halfway decent ones. It's easy to miss those too. Unless you brush all the vines back, they're really camouflaged in amongst the leaves. See how you start getting some skinny tips. And normally that would happen on zucchini from lack of water, but there's not lack of water and moisture on the cucumbers. See, the dirt has a fair amount of moisture in it. It's a little dry on one side. You know, the drip tape's over here, so it definitely gets moisture over here. But the odd shapes and ugly cucumbers are due to just poor plant health this time of year. You know, we got some diseases moving in, like downy mildew, like I already mentioned, and the cucumber beetle damage. That's from cucumber beetles gnawing on the rind. Cucumbers weren't so hot. We ended up with about 3 tubs, and I only need like 5 tubs to get me through the whole week. So we'll pick again on Thursday. Hopefully we'll get a couple tubs and we'll be good to go on cucumbers for 1 more week. All right, we're back out here on winter squash. Looks like a majority of it is spaghetti, but there are some nice butternut still left out here that have not gotten picked up yet. Looks like maybe 3 bins at best.
Me too.
We ended up having a little more squash than I thought out here. I think we're gonna fill up a majority of this wagon. I was just planning on putting them on one side to make it easier to get them out for washing, but it's getting lopsided or too heavy on that side, so we're switching to the other side. Does anybody know what this is? Let me know in the comments. If you know what these black swirly disease or fungus, I don't know what that is, that attacks the spaghetti squash. Can you see that? I haven't had a whole lot of it, but I've seen that in years past. Starts out as a little swirl and it turns black, and then it starts getting a soft shell that, you know, you can break right through and they rot. The one good thing about the rain is that the mud or dirt is no longer baked onto these squash. It's like a little slimy mud that'll come right off in the washer. When it's hard to dry, it's hard to get them clean in the washer. All right, we have all of our winter squash picked up for the 2024 season. We're gonna get it back up in the barn, get it washed and binned up and ready for market. All right, I'm out here after lunch, ready to harvest our final green bean patch of 2024. Let's take a look at them. Right here, they look pretty healthy. They fizzle out as you get further down the patch and further that way. But let's take a look at these right here. As I mentioned in a prior video, I see a lot of different stages of growth in this plant. I see full-size mature beans that look great inside. There's no bean yet. Oh, just starting to see a little bean there. But the majority of them are nice and watery inside, full and solid. No bean yet. And then you get these little pin beans like this that need another week. But if we wait another week, all these big ones will be soft, squishy, and have a great big bean in them. And they're not going to be marketable. And then you also have beans still in the flower stage, the bud stage, just starting to form little beans. So I think that was something to do with the drought, you know, the excessive heat and excessive dry weather since we have no overhead irrigation. You know, I do have a pond right here and I can irrigate 5, 6, 7 acres, but I don't have a traveler. It's a solid set aluminum pipe that just I have a great big sprinkle head. I could set it up like I do my strawberries. This used to all be strawberries. I used to have up to 7 acres of strawberries at one time, and I could irrigate all of them, but it was specifically used for frost control. If I ran that all night long on 3 or 4 acres, I would almost drain my pond. And it happened a few times, but it's such a pain in the butt to set up. And since I don't have a traveler, which would make the sprinkle head go back and forth, you know, roll up on a reel and irrigate the whole field, I would be forced to put it out like the rainbird sprinklers every 60 feet or whatever, and they gotta go around and water the whole field in. I could have done that. It probably would have gave us a lot better crop here, but Yeah, I didn't. It is what it is. So we're just going to harvest what we got here. And it's pretty soft out here still. I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but we got 1.5 inches of rain in the last 2 or 3 days. And it's a little soft. But my brother's out harvesting corn. So if he's able to do that, I'm sure we can get this lightweight John Deere 3020 and Oxbo green bean harvester through here, no problem. So I don't have a helper today, it's just me out here. My son Gavin was supposed to be out here to help me, and I think he's taking a nap. He had an early class at college today, and I think my other son kept him awake half the night with a cough he has. So I think he's upstairs sleeping right now. I probably should have woke him up, and I would have if we had a huge crop to pick, but I think I'm only going to get like 10 bushels, so I can do it myself in like a half hour. So let's go ahead and give it a shot and we'll see what we get. I'll make a round and I'll come back here and we'll inspect them together. All right, I just did one pass. Let's check these beans out. I'm seeing some bug bites right off the bat. I don't spray insecticides on my beans. That's why I'm seeing some of that. Definitely aren't the prettiest beans. I did not see any of this when I was looking at the patch. But after you harvest them, you obviously get a close-up look of what all the beans look like. And they're not that great. Wow. They are eaten up pretty bad in spots. My goodness. I mean, I can send them through my shaker table and we can sort these all out. So that 1.5 bushel tub came from this one row. Let's inspect our row and see how well it's being picked. I'm seeing a few beans down here. Some of these are going to be impossible to get just because if I put my bean picking head any lower, I'm going to start picking up dirt because the dirt is kind of soft. You know, I don't want to pick up dirt and rocks like this. So since these beans are sitting kind of low on the ground, I am going to miss some. One of my subscribers that has one of these said the manual says to pick at 1400 RPMs. I pick at 1800. If I slow it down any slower than 1800, I'll have beans everywhere left in the row. I have to pick at 1800, sometimes even 1900 RPMs. And it seems like that knocks off the beans off the plant better for me. Another thing I like to look at is walk out here and see what kind of debris the blower is shooting out. Looks like it's just leaves. Obviously all the pin beans are going to be out here too, but for the most part it looks like it's just leaves. I see a few broken bits of beans, but you can see how it just coated the trail with leaves. All right, let's get back to picking and get this finished up. All right, green bean harvest is officially complete for 2024. I did not get as many as I had hoped for. We got 6 tubs. That's about 8 bushels. Sometimes late season crops just don't do as good as you expect. That's the way it goes sometimes. At least we have some green beans to sell this Saturday. But this is where we're gonna wrap this one up today, folks. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. And I'll see you all again real soon down the farm.